Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of STATURDAY Chat Live here in 2022. It is great to have you for this first edition of the year. I'm excited about how everything's going to go down this year. I'm looking optimistic. So let me know how you're all doing, and we'll do the usual format. So yeah, I'm really excited to be with you for this first live stream here in 2022. And we can talk about what the year might hold for all of this, and kind of what my plans are, and we can go from there. So I hope you all had a good New Year wherever you might be, and you were safe and sound, and looking forward to 2022. So first things first, I want to have you all please post in the chat. Post in the chat where you are in the world. I want to know where you're all joining the stream from, and we'll start that way. Also want to let you know that a new video on YouTube will be released on Monday in the a.m. So Eastern time, it's like 10, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Been working on that one for a while. I'm really proud of it. So you can check out the video on Monday on YouTube. So, all right, where's everybody at? Okay, we got Matthew from Anderson, Indiana. It's not too far from my time in Bloomington. It's a little bit up north, but it's good to have you, Matthew. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping in the chat. Ernest from Germany. Hello, my friend. I hope you are doing very well. Hope to make it to Germany someday. There's so many places I want to visit. Just haven't gotten there yet, but we're working on it. So, hello, Aditya. Good to have you in the chat. Good to have you in the stream. Thank you. So, if you're new to the stream, I like to keep these streams around 30 minutes. Some of them go a little bit longer, but 30 minutes or so. It's a very casual, general chat. We can talk about whatever really you want to talk about. A lot of people ask questions about statistics and other type stuff, but we don't have to talk about that kind of thing. We can talk about whatever we want. It is an important day. Obviously, it's January 1st, a new year. New things in the horizons. So we can talk about that as well. So like I mentioned, new video will be released on Monday on YouTube. So please check that out, share it and everything. I didn't release over the holidays because YouTube education is a dead zone over the holidays. So there's no point in releasing educational videos over holidays because their students are not in session and, all kinds of stuff. So, all right. Some more people hopping in. Hi, Atul from India. It's good to see you. Rich from Anchorage. Hey, Rich. Thanks for stopping by the live stream. Glad to have you with us. So, like I always do, I always say that super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. Those help support the channel. So, just to put it into perspective, the video I'm releasing on Monday cost about $30 to get professionally captioned. So there are costs associated with the channel, and any bit helps. So if you're able to, I appreciate it. I know not everyone can, but I at least like to spell that out. Also, if you don't know, I have merchandise. See, train test split. I do have some merchandise if you want to check that out. But that's enough of that. I do appreciate your support. All right, good to see you. It's good to see you all as well. So let's talk about, 2021, 2022, and where we sort of hope to go. And please feel to, again, put your comments or questions in the chat, and I will put them up on the screen, and we'll answer them the best we can. So, reflecting back on 2021, especially on the channel, it was a big year for the channel. I'm not here to talk about me or the channel a whole lot. It's not why I do it. That's not what motivates me. But for 2021, the channel crossed 250,000 subscribers, which I never thought was even remotely possible. I mean, you asked me 9 years ago if that was possible. I think you're crazy. So I'm really happy with the progress the channel is making, slow, steady progress, and hope to continue that into 2022. Actually, this May of 2022 will be the 10-year anniversary of the channel, period. So I'm sure we'll have a big celebration around that, and we'll do something special around that time in May of 2022. So, other than that, I'm just going to keep releasing videos as I have time to do them. As you all know, this is not my full-time job. It's what I do kind of on the side when I have extra time, which there isn't a lot of. So I do the best I can for you because my goal is to help you in whatever it is you're trying to achieve, whether it's school, career, or just curiosity, So I'm going to continue kind of doing what I've been doing, and we'll see what new topics and what new content might pop up as we go forward. All right, so I told you I'd say something about exam pressure. So I'm assuming you're talking about just preparation for exams and things of that nature. Well, it's really hard. Everyone responds to exam type pressures in their own way. But I think the best way to alleviate that pressure, in my experience over time, is just slow, steady preparation. So when you go into that exam room or online, whatever it is now, that you just feel rested, you feel confident in the material, and you just go in and do it the best you can. Now, as far as like prepping for exams, there are many ways to do that, depending on the exam you're doing. Of course, if it's a course, then you have your own notes and other materials, and then you can make your own study materials. But the best way to prepare for any type of exam is, one, spaced practice and rehearsal. So, give yourself time between study periods to let your mind sort of stew, and then go back and do what's called spaced rehearsal. Okay, spaced recall or spaced rehearsal. And then the other proven way to retain information is to restate it in your own terms. And the easiest way to do that is just to write it out. So spaced rehearsal and restating things in your own terms are the research says is the best way to retain information. And of course, I will add, it's very important during those exam pressure periods to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. Get good rest, nutrition, exercise, rest your eyes, step away. If you live in a place where you can go out and walk outside in nature, do that. So cramming for exams for long-term recall doesn't work. It's always beneficial to do a quick review before you go into the exam, just to kind of rekindle some of those things in your mind. But cramming and overdoing it has diminishing returns. That type of thing has diminishing returns over time. So, all right. I've helped a lot of students over the years, dozens, maybe hundreds, at this point as a tutor, but also when I was teaching, in higher education and other areas. I gave my students what they needed to do to prepare, that it was up to them. So, all right. Hey, hello, Brand. Love and respect from India. Love my viewers in India. Thank you. You're awesome. Our college is putting a lot of pressure on us this new year. What to do now? Hey, I would just say, Atul, figure out the way to structure your time whereby you get enough time to do the schoolwork and everything, but also enough time to take care of yourself. Because as I said, there's a limit to what a person can do and retain. You're spinning your wheels after a set period of time. So for this pressure type atmosphere, one, I would just make sure you know what the requirements are. Get as much information about what you need to know and how you need to perform ahead of time, and then structure your time to work on those specific things that you know. But again, you have to take care of yourself, in all those ways I mentioned before. Otherwise, it's all for naught. It's going to go in one ear and right out the other. And plus, you'll end up resenting what you do. And we don't want to do that. So, just pace yourself, Atul. I know it can be very pressure inducing. All right. Anyways, can you give lectures on Calc 3? It will help me in data science. No, I will probably not be doing Calc 3 videos. I have not had a calculus class myself in many, many years. However, calculus does make an appearance in my video that will be released on Monday. A very simple calculus, but it does make an appearance. So I've not had calculus in a while. I would have to basically go back and relearn it all. So probably not. However, like I mentioned, calculus does make an appearance in some of my videos as a tool to understand something we are doing. However, it's not really necessary. I just use it to explain an underlying concept. So probably not Calc 3, but Calc does make an appearance from time to time on my video. All right. Learn a lot from your statistics videos. Thank you. You are very welcome. The thanks is all mine. Trust me, the thanks is all mine to have you on the channel and spending your valuable time learning with me, because we don't get any time back. So the fact that you choose to spend it with me on the channel and learn, I can't ask for anything more than that, and I am eternally grateful. Ernest asks, can you introduce us to the basics of R and also how we can use R to run statistical analysis? Ernest, I have some of my videos have some basic R in them. As I've explained on the live stream in the channel before, I am not by day a coder, so I don't go to work every day or I don't go to work anyway anymore. But I don't sit and code in R and stuff like that, or Python for that matter, every day. It's a tool I pull off the shelf, like a tool in the garage. I pull off the shelf to fix something, then I put it back. So R and Python to me are tools I pull off the shelf if I need them, and then I put them back. So I'm probably not the best person necessarily to do basics of R, number one. And number two, there's so much content out there already. There are so many resources that you can already take advantage of, a lot of them free, to learn the basics of R, that I'm not sure I would add anything to that conversation, So maybe, but it's not really my strong suit in what I do sort of day to day, so I may not be the best person. There are people out there who do this every day for a living that engage in R and Python and other things for that matter that are probably better to do that. So, but maybe. Who knows? I think I've already addressed this, Anwesh. Calc 3 is very important data science and machine learning engineering. Well, it depends. I don't think you need to know Calc 3 to have a career in data science necessarily, or machine learning. I don't necessarily think that is the case. But for some jobs you might, for some careers you might, especially if you're doing academic research in that area, you might need those. So Calc 3 is a very high level calc that most people, unless you're a math major or doing something, graduate school wise or very high level, most people aren't going to have to go that far necessarily, unless that's specifically what you are studying. But for someone who's just going into getting their MBA or some other graduate degree that just uses these as tools, probably doesn't need to know Calc 3. So that's a long way of saying I will not go into Calc 3, like I said before, but I do some calculus here and there to teach a concept. So, all right, help me to clear statistics. Thank you. You're very welcome. You are very welcome. Rich, lots of R tips on Twitter. Yes. So Rich has a very good point here. Lots of R tips on Twitter, but also, the entire internet is just full of tutorials on R and Python. Of course, you have marketplaces like Udemy. You have free sources like YouTube. There are coding platforms that actually have you go in and can code in a development environment, an IDE, where you can actually practice alongside the code. So those are probably, I think, with R and like Python and stuff, that you want to be doing it alongside in like an environment, if at all possible. So, if you want to have that hands-on practice, I would suggest maybe investing in one of those IDE sort of services where you can code along with the lessons and it can check your code as you learn it, right? And of course, the best way to learn something is to make mistakes. So there are other books too. It's not here. I have a couple of books upstairs from O'Reilly. O'Reilly makes good trade publications on these topics. So you can pick up an O'Reilly book that has to do with like data science in R, data science in Python, practical examples, R cookbook, stuff like that are really good. So you can find one of those, even a used copy somewhere, and just, work the code out of those books, those O'Reilly books that are really good at teaching those concepts. So I keep hitting this microphone. I do apologize. All right. I will say, I think, depending on what area you work in, I do see things trending more towards Python than R specifically. Of course, Python is a much broader language. You can do more things in terms of just general programming. Of course, on all the things other things you can do with it. And then R is a specialized tool, specifically for statistics and related, disciplines. So I tend to see things moving a bit towards the Python direction over time, because it can do pretty much everything R can do, plus much more, So everyone has to figure out which one works best for them and what resource works best for them. I'm not by nature, by my aptitude, like a coder. Even though I was coding at a very young age, I was learning BASIC. When I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, I was learning BASIC at that time. But it's not one of those things that really stuck with me. So I pull it out and learn it and use it when I need it, and then I put it back. So usually the space between the times I use it for a project is so wide that I have to update it when I go to do it again. So, all right, questions, comments in the chat. Go ahead. I want to look through here and think I got everything. I'm gonna look here. I think I got everything. So yeah, post your comments, questions in the chat, and I will put them up on the screen and talk with you about them the best I can. All right. Could you please come up with videos on different statistical analysis in clinical trials? Maybe not as specific as clinical trials. However, I am doing a lot of reading and studying and note-taking right now on design of experiments. So I've had many of you over the past year or two request content on design of experiments, which, in some ways is related to, ANOVAs, analysis of variance. So there's kind of a little side shoot off of that into design of experiments that I'm kind of interested in getting into. So it's somewhat related to this clinical trial idea, but maybe not that specific. So I am currently, reading up, taking notes, sketching some things out of how I might like to do that, and then do maybe some videos on design of experiments. There's so many designs for experiments that they're designed to be orthogonal, and I don't want to go into the weeds on what orthogonal means, but you can set up experiments so that they're very flexible. I'd like to go into some of that for you. So in a way, I would say probably clinical trials. Might have to extrapolate from what I do into a clinical trial specific type application. So, all right. Have you done anything with Nui West and white robust standard errors? No, I have not, but I'm going to, as always, jot that down and take a look. Gotta find something to write with. Got my notepad. Oh, I didn't do the room cam. What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm going to write this down. Nui West. White robust SEs. Okay. Note to myself. Note to myself in my pad there. All right, so what do we got here? Thanks, John, for the question. I will look into that and do some research, and we'll go from there. All right. So, Daniel, Happy New Year. Thanks for the great content. Keep it up. You are welcome, Daniel. I appreciate your kind comment there. And I'm trying to keep it up best I can. That's time is always of the essence, and I need 36 hours. So, all right. So my New Year's glasses are starting to bother me. So I'm going to put on my normal glasses. There we go. How about those New Year's glasses? Aren't those awesome? All right. So Dana says, nice setup. Thank you. I'm actually going to, either today or sometime soon, I'm actually going to disassemble this entire, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this entire setup here. And then I'm course, clean everything, reorganize, get rid of some stuff I don't need, set up some different lights, just give myself a little bit better working environment. So, yeah, so I'm going to try to make it even better, but I appreciate that. Thumbs up. That's right, Rich. Thank you. All right. So where am I going on the channel from here? Just so you kind of know how everything is going. So like I said, a video will be released it's already uploaded and ready to roll. But I release on Monday because you don't release videos on the weekend in education especially now because of the new year. So that is on the square root transformation. And I go through the concept and everything, do a little calculus. Then we go into Excel and actually manipulate the Boston data set to do some transformations and look at the correlations between variables after we do the transformations to see kind of what we get by doing them. And there's a file. You can download the Boston data set. I'll provide it, but you can get it anywhere where you can download it and follow along if you want. So it's a video I put a lot of effort into. And then after that video, we're going to go through some other transformations. So obviously the log transformation, we'll look at log base 10, and of course the natural log. We'll look at those, and then we'll look at the multiplicative inverse transformation as well. And then we will go into potentially some others. So Yeo Johnson, Box-Cox, and then we can talk about other transformations that we don't think of as transformations, but actually are. So normalization is a transformation. Standardization is a transformation. We don't think about them that way, but that's exactly what they are. So whenever you put your data into an algorithm that goes through some sort of scaling or normalization or standardization or whatever else that might be, you are doing a data transformation. So we don't think of it that way, but that's exactly what's going on underneath the hood, whether or not we realize it. So we're going to do some more. So we're going to do some more of those. So I'm taking some notes here. Okay. I'm taking some notes for you all to make sure I do all the ones that I want to do. Now, I will say that so the transformation stuff I've been working on, I'm going to continue to work on, and then like I said, looking into some design of experiments type videos, and we'll see where that goes. And then some people have asked for time series type videos. We'll see if I have time for that. I would like to do videos on all this stuff for all of you all, but again, it's not something I do full time. So I do what I can. Let's see here. Ernest asks, other than YouTube videos, do you have any special classes like Zoom meetings you organize for students? I do not at this time, Ernest. So I just do the YouTube videos when I have the time to make them, and I do the live streams now every 2 weeks, but maybe more frequently. It's not that I don't want to do that. I just do not have time to do that. So I have a 9-to-5 job, typical 9-to-5 job, and then I have two side jobs. YouTube is one of those side jobs, and then I do voiceover work, which is a third side job. Or second side job, third job overall. So the problem is time, and to do something like that, like a special class or a special Zoom meeting or some sort of special platform, would just take a lot of time to do that, and I don't have it, but I would love to do it. You know what I mean? So if there was a way to make it all work, time-wise and financially, I would. But at this time, Ernest, unfortunately, I do not have another platform other than YouTube and LinkedIn, really, to do that. I have a question for you all. So, don't judge. How many of you all use TikTok, and what do you think of it? And let me kind of frame that question. So, as some of you might know, a couple years ago, I deleted all my social media. So, Facebook is gone, Instagram gone, Twitter gone, stuff like that. Because I don't really like some of the policies of those companies, and I know they're all problematic, right? But in some ways. However, I was trying to think of ways to do some educational stuff on a platform that's sort of independent of the big ones. And I was exploring using TikTok for that, and to kind of have some more behind the scenes type stuff and things like that. So yeah, here's the thing. I'm looking for some other way, some other platform beyond LinkedIn and YouTube to add some other level of content for everybody in a way that's unique and different and stuff like that. I haven't committed to doing that, but I know TikTok is growing so quickly. I would not use it for its purpose like most people do, like dancing around and, fart jokes, even though I find fart jokes really funny. Pranks, stuff like that. So I'm thinking about it. I was just wondering if you all had any thoughts on, or if you were users, what you thought of it or anything like that. So yeah, a lot of you are not. Yeah. Nope. No TikTok. A proud non-TikTok user. Yeah. It's really hard when you're a content creator to find places where you can do different types of content than what you're doing. Like, I like to compartmentalize things. Like, I'd like to keep YouTube about the work, about the teaching and learning. So on YouTube, I keep it strictly to the videos I make. You don't see me doing personality cults type stuff because I hate that kind of stuff. You don't see me, making it about me. Same thing sort of on LinkedIn. I try to keep it professional on LinkedIn. I don't go into, personal stuff on LinkedIn or whatever else. So I've been trying to think about a different platform maybe, to explore. I haven't decided yet, but I'm just kind of just thinking about it. So yeah, Mr. Rich says, sadly, TikTok is partially Chinese government owned. Yeah, I mean, the ownership of all these things is, yeah, I mean, it's a web. It's a web. And I've kind of looked up on it and researched on it, and I'm not sure if it's any worse or better than the other ones. So, anyway, I just thought maybe you all might have some thoughts on that, and it's something I might explore for a few months and to see if there's any traction, if it's any good or anything like that. So I would like to do more sort of behind the scenes stuff, sort of more content about just me and, my day-to-day sort of things, but I don't want to intermix that content with the teaching and learning on YouTube or the professional stuff on LinkedIn. I want to kind of have it off in its own box. You know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking about it. I didn't know what you all might think as well. All right. All right. Comments, questions, please throw those in the chat. And since I have some new people that have popped in, super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. It helps the channel a great deal, especially in this new year as things grow. All right. Some other stuff that's going to come up as I wait for your comments or questions in the chat. I'm exploring some different platforms to also teach on, aside from YouTube. Haven't really settled on what those might be yet, but if I ever want to do this sort of more, maybe not completely full time, but a little bit more, I might have to expand the platforms I do this sort of stuff on, but we'll see, So obviously a lot of you all come to YouTube to learn. What are some of the other platforms you go to learn things? They can be free or paid, and try to be specific. So don't like the internet, of course. But where else do you go to learn these type things beyond just YouTube? Are there specific websites? Are there specific companies? Are there specific marketplaces that you buy courses from? Where else do you go to learn things? So obviously all the course marketplaces like Udemy is probably the biggest one. LinkedIn Learning is another one that's part of LinkedIn, obviously. And then there are numerous, privately owned businesses that offer tutorials and classes. I was just curious of where else you might go to learn the content, besides YouTube. So Matthew says, go to the YouTube and the library. You still go to the library. That's great. I like it. Yes. Go to your local library. So, I'm a big Udemy consumer. Not as much maybe now as I was in the past, but it's something I've considered, but I don't know. I don't know. Matthew says, it's hard to Google stuff these days. You get too many commercial ads for online learning academies. Yeah, I mean, the education space is wide open, Matthew. It's there's no real barrier to entry. So anyone can really kind of throw up whatever, any kind of learning content on the internet. And it's kind of up to users to discern whether or not that's good content or not. And, so I've been trying to expand, maybe get into other areas, because as all the YouTube content on my channel is free to everyone who wants to spend time watching. I do sell things. I sell some PDFs on my website, which is sometimes worth it. Sometimes it's not worth it. It might cost more to actually host that service than I actually have in sales on the PDFs. I have merchandise on my channel. This is what I'm wearing now. And other than that, it's just donations. It's PayPal tips, Super Chats, and GoFundMe. That's how I run the channel. It's basically off donations. So it's hard to do it that way. It's hard to make it's hard to make something that survives off donations the foundation of your livelihood. You just can't do that. You can't take the risk to do that. All right. Purchase direct from content creators. Yeah, I thought about actually doing maybe like a Teachable course. What else? Teachable, Thinkific, Skillshare, something like that. To help make this something I could do maybe a bit more. But I was just curious sort of where you all went to learn other material besides YouTube. Because YouTube, there are limitations to YouTube. Obviously, it's free and open to everybody who wants to watch it. But there are certain things these platforms offer, like it's easy to do support files. It's easy to update the content as you see fit. You can chunk the content into a structure. You can have various downloads for people. And most importantly, you can do assessments along the way for people to check their understanding. And YouTube can't do any of that, at least yet. So trying to make it more of like a class than just, hey, here's some videos, watch. So thinking about it. We'll see. All right, machine learning mastery. Yeah, okay. So we're about 30 minutes in. What, as we look into 2022, what are some of the things that you all hope to achieve here in 2022? It doesn't have to be necessarily about statistics or machine learning or data science or anything like that, or even school or career for that matter. It could be just a personal goal you might have, or something you're trying to do more of, something you're trying to do less of, something you're trying to maintain. I'm just curious, looking into this new year. Here we are, the first day of a brand new year. We've had a very, very rough 2 years. As a planet, very rough 2 years. And I think the fact that we've all kind of made it this far just speaks to the resiliency of the human spirit, figuring out a way to just get through day by day and survive the best we can. I think it's a testament that we're still here. But looking into 2022, and hopefully a lot of this stuff begins to fade. Hopefully, I think the next couple of weeks are going to be very, very rough, especially here in the U.S., but hopefully as we get into the spring and summer and fall, these things will slowly just sort of die away. It's something we learn to live with. What are some of the things you hope to do and achieve and look forward to here in 2022? Go ahead and post those in the chat, and I'll kind of start out. So obviously when it comes to the YouTube stuff, I just want to keep chugging along and doing videos when I can. So in May, like I mentioned, May will be the 10-year anniversary of the channel starting. So that's going to be a huge moment, at least for me personally. I'm very proud of that. Other than that, sort of just personally, I'm going to try to keep up the good habits I have developed over the past year and a half or so. So some of you may not know that, in July of 2020, I was in a very unhealthy state, especially physically. So I decided to make some changes, and people come in all shapes and sizes that are beautiful and valid and everything like that. But I was very unhealthy, so I decided to lose. I lost 75 pounds over the course of 9 months, and I got into a habit of exercising, 4 days a week, or going on hikes when it's warm. Changed my diet a lot, and I'm going to try to continue those habits that ironically COVID has actually presented. So because I was stuck in the house like everybody else, I was able to control my diet. I was able to control the food I ate, and when I ate it, I was able to, I bought an exercise bike. I did a Peloton class on the app, but I have my own much cheaper bike. I did it this morning. This morning I did a 45-minute cycling class, and I burned almost 800 calories in 45 minutes, and I feel great. So I'm just trying to keep those habits that I've developed over the past year and a half going. Just trying to keep those going. So it's had a silver lining, at least for me personally. Not saying, all the despair and sickness and death that has brought on just around the globe. So I'm going to try to continue those. That's sort of one of my personal goals, is to continue those good habits that I've developed. So Matthew says, I'm starting a new job Monday in a new industry, wanting to give it an honest shot, as I'm not too sure if I'll like it or not, but I need a fresh change from what I have been doing. Fantastic. So Matthew, if you want to, if you want to share more with us about what that is, or why you chose to do that, or whatever else, you're more than welcome. No pressure, of course. You can share whatever you want. It's your personal choice. But yeah, and this is also true, right? This is also something we all know is happening. The great resignation, or the great reevaluation. So this period of time has caused a lot of us, me included, to reevaluate what we value in terms of our health, our mental health, physical health, and everything, to reevaluate what's important to us. And those good things that have happened during this COVID period are things we should, as things get more back to normal, try to hold on to those things, because they're always there. So try to keep any good habits that we've developed, and try to get rid of some bad ones if we develop those bad ones. So everyone's in a state of kind of this reassessing how it is they want to spend their brief time on this planet, and Matthew, I hope Monday works out for you, and I'm sure you'll give it the best shot that you can, and you don't know if you don't try it, so give it a shot. Yeah, and COVID has been great in that regard for me. Stopped going out to eat, learned to love cooking at home again. Absolutely. So I work best within some sort of a system. So what I did, this is not a plug or a sponsor or anything like that, but I actually chose to do a program called Nutrisystem, which some of you may have heard of. And for me, it's worked perfectly, because everything is packaged out for me. So I know exactly what to eat, when to eat it. Now I add in some other food because I'm going to the gym too. But it's worked for me because I had that system to follow, and then I add things like salads that I cook and things like that. So, but the thing is that the being in better physical shape has also helped my mind. It's amazing what exercise does to your mind. So I have much more energy throughout the day. I sleep like I sleep like a log. I sleep so well because I get the exercise. And of course the sleep is restorative. So the next day I feel great. My mind is clear. It's not foggy. And the exercise has just helped tremendously with my own thinking process. Like a lot of you, I spend a lot of time learning things. It's my favorite thing to do. And when you learn stuff, your brain is actually burning a ton of calories. Your brain burns a ton of calories when it's working, So you have to feed it. You have to take care of it. and the rest of your body. So, especially too, like I turned 45 this year or last year. I'm going to be doing that for a while. Turned 45 last year, so I know like, I'm sort of getting that midpoint of my life, and it's really important. It's always important, but it's especially important as you get into your 30s and 40s to really take care of your health and try to stave off the inevitable as much as you can, so you have a long, productive, healthy life you can enjoy before it gets too difficult if you get older to get around. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to travel. Once travel gets relatively back to normal, I've been trying to position myself financially to have options to travel around the world. And, there are so many places I want to visit. India is probably top of my list. I would love to come to India and see all the beautiful people in India. Meet with some people who my channel has so much support from India and LinkedIn too, that I'd love to go visit, some of you all that are in India and see that it's a beautiful, beautiful country. I won't see 1/100th of what I'd like to see if I go, but I would love to go to India and visit, a couple cities and just enjoy it. So that's on my list too. All right. Happy New Year, Nathan. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Matthew says, found a gig with a company that makes surgical implants. Cool. Getting into 3D printing and machining, but it's a job that will bring me back up. Awesome. So I've thought about getting into 3D printing too, but I already have I have enough crap in my house, and adding 3D printing to that would be another big thing. I also have stuff in my house that I don't use a whole lot. That's probably one more thing I don't use a whole lot. Problem is I find a lot of things interesting, and it's a good way to start collecting stuff in your house because you find lots of things interesting. So who knows? Maybe one day I will get into 3D printing. But Matthew, I'm happy for you, my friend. I hope the gig goes well for you, and it turns out being something you really enjoy and get happiness from, and you can stick with that. I will say, now is a good time if you want to try maybe a different career or pivot to something slightly different. Now is a great time, obviously, because the job market is insane. And if you wanted to pivot to something different, now's a good time because there are more openings, now than there kind of have ever been, and they can be a little bit more flexible in maybe job requirements or your background or something like that if you wanted to go into something a bit different. It's also a good time to ask your company for a raise if you can. It's also a good time to maybe consider doing your own company, even if it's not a full-time thing. So I have my own company. My YouTube channel and other things are under the umbrella of that company. But I encourage almost everyone. I don't know the laws and the rules outside of the U.S. or anything like that. But if you're in the U.S. especially, I highly encourage everyone to form their own company, period. Even if you don't do anything with it, just form your own company. And you can use that as a vehicle to do business under, to have business expenses that you can write off on your taxes here in the U.S. and do it properly. So form your own business with whatever state you're in, get your tax number from the IRS, and have your own business. Even if you make $1,000 a year or something, that's great. So I would encourage you to maybe think about forming your own business as well, even if it's a side thing. So, all right, what else we got going on here? I think I have hit all the comments. So yeah, if you just hop into the stream, we're talking about things we plan on doing for 2022, maybe things we want to do differently, some aspirations we might have for 2022, and we're talking about those. So we're talking about new jobs. We're talking about maybe starting your own business, maybe wanting to do travel, get healthier, wide open conversation. So Matt says, hardest part of quitting my old job when COVID hit is that it's such a buyer's market that it was hard to find something I felt would be a good fit. Turned down more job offers than ever before. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. You know, obviously, I'm sure some of you are probably the same way. I get hammered by recruiters on LinkedIn constantly, constantly. And it's just it is a crazy market out there. So, but it can be hard, having a job that you're comfortable with and familiar with. It's hard to leave that sometimes, but if you're going to take the jump, now is the time, I would think. It's just a bonkers job, and I don't see that changing for a while. I don't see that changing for a while. I think it's going to go into 2022. The job market's going to be hot, and employees definitely have more flexibility in where they want to work, how they want to work, can demand higher wages, which I think is valuable, obviously, but it's also justified to ask for your true value. And some people are starting their own businesses, like I said. So yeah, now as an employee, now you're in the driver's seat. So take advantage of it, because it won't always be that way, as we all know. All right, had several offers with really good pay, but we're doing the same old. And many of those were out of state. Yeah. So work situations, people are being very, demanding on what they want to do for work. I like, I have a whole setup here at the house, so I can, sit here and do my work and in quiet and comfort. And, I enjoy working, in this environment. And as much as I miss my friends at the office and miss, and I do miss the social aspects of going to the office every day. Absolutely, I do. But I think what's happened over the past 2 years, so we will have been out of the office 2 years this March. I've just, like all of us, I just adapted. So now I'm used to this. And I can't, the idea of going back to the office 5 days a week, if that's what we do, that's what we do. And that's obviously what I would do. But, I just adapted to this more flexible kind of work environment where I can work here in the house. I can go to the coffee shop and work, and I can control my diet and exercise. So, yeah. I can talk about that stuff forever. Rich, all the best in 22. Absolutely, you too, my friend. I wish you all the best in 2022, and I hope to see you around on the live stream and stuff like that as we go into 2022. All right. This is an interesting question. Bhavana, hope I said that right. Again, I try to get names correct because you deserve that, but if I mess it up, I do apologize. So Bhavana says, hey, Brandon, I am aspiring to become a blogger in the data science domain, but there are so many blogs already on all the major sites, and they are written by the absolute best. How do I begin? Any tips would be very useful. All right. So I think if you don't already, my answer would be to start a YouTube channel. Here's why. We already know blogs are good support content now. I don't think they are good primary content. And what I mean by that is everyone now watches things. We are now a video learning or video consuming culture, whether that's just good old television or on demand streaming services for entertainment like a Netflix or whatever else. YouTube, obviously, TikTok, we talked about before, Instagram Reels. We are a video consuming culture now, and that is the primary method by which people consume content. Now, I think blogs are good as support to that for types of things that cannot be expressed efficiently or comprehensively in a video. So obviously, I have a website. I don't blog on it. I have a website just basically to host files for you all to download and follow along. I have a website that sells some PDF versions of some of my slides because people have asked for them. it's a very minimal website that just serves a specific purpose because people watch. They don't go and read a whole lot unless it's like Wikipedia, they look something up. So I don't want to discourage you from the blog or anything like that, but I would encourage you to think about, and know your audience or cast your audience, however you want to think about it, and then work from there on how they want to consume content. That is, I don't think most people are readers now, and that's a shame. Especially online, most people aren't readers. They would rather watch something. Or you can use the blog as the foundation for maybe a piece of video content. And the video, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You can just do your voice. Like there are almost no videos on my channel that actually show my face. It's just me talking into this microphone. You can do it that way. So think about the end user. Think about how people consume content now. Look at trends. What's happening. Not only are we a video consuming planet now, it's also that the videos have to be shorter and shorter. So it's a challenge. So, I would just, Bhavana, I would just test a few things out and see what you're comfortable with. But you're right. There's so many websites have zero cost of entry. Anyone can make one. You could also try writing on another person's blog. So if you know someone that has a blog that's fairly trafficked, you can ask them to write a guest article on their blog if you want. There are sites like Medium that you can write on. I think that's how it works. So I think on Medium, can anyone write on Medium? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think anyone could actually sign up and write on Medium. You could try that as well. But I do think in general, we're a video culture, and finding a way to express yourself through video, or for that matter, even like just audio, like a podcast, so a short audio podcast that someone could listen to, depending on what you're blogging about. So, and the last thing I'll say about this, it also depends on the content. Some content is better to read. Some content is better to watch. Some content is better to do, like an experiential type piece of content. So the platform that you create on might depend on the underlying content you're trying to get across. So, thank you so much. Thank you for the super sticker, Bhavana. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Hope I helped. Matthews, I got into data science stuff to learn how I can build better fantasy teams for sports. My goal this year is to win a tournament. Yes, I have several friends that do fantasy leagues, fantasy football, stuff like that. I've thought about it, but I tend to think that in the age of sports betting, that all of these analysis and models and probabilities have been run, probably millions of times, millions of simulations. So honestly, the best place you can get sports or other probabilistic information is Las Vegas or any other betting site, because it's in their interest to get the numbers right in these models, so they don't lose money on bets. So there's very, very sophisticated processes behind the scenes that run models for obviously just day-to-day sports, but also fantasy leagues as well. And a lot of the work's already been done. It's already been done. Same thing with finance. Any place that publicly available information is there, whether it's, financial information that's public or sports information that's public or whatever else, if that information is in the public domain, usually businesses are built upon that data, and they have already done all the complicated analysis behind the scenes already. So my advice to sports people who bet in sports is just go with the numbers that are in the over under, and go in the numbers that are in the favorite or whatever else, because it's already been done for you. All right. Yes, anyone can write on Medium. That's what I thought. So, yeah, I mean that might be something to that might be something to consider. So, try Medium and see if you can get some traction on that. Of course, you can cross link and cross post, content. That's my struggle. This is actually fundamental to one of the struggles I have, is that I really, really, really do despise social media now, what it's become, which is why I deleted all of it. Deleted all my accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all gone. They don't even exist anymore. It's not like I don't use them. They're deleted. However, I'm finding that it's really hard to grow an online presence without them. So I'm trying to stick to YouTube and LinkedIn, but that may not be enough, which is why I was am exploring something I might be able to do on TikTok, even though I have problems with TikTok too. They're all problem. All social media platforms are problematic because we are the content. We are the product. So for us to be the product, they have to be as problematic as they can get away with in terms of privacy, because we're the product. But I'm finding it hard to, grow potentially without engaging on at least one of them, which I haven't figured out. So, all right, a few more minutes. Then we're going to get on with our first day of the year. Hello, Brandon, Ernst. Happy New Year from France. Thank you for the amazing content. Well, thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Hope to make it to France someday too. Basically, I just want to go to Europe and just roam around for like 3 months. That'll be one of my dream vacations. As you've already covered some statistical aspects of it, would you consider doing some videos in the future about design of experiments? Very, very timely, Ernst, because I talked about this earlier. So I've had several requests for design of experiments type content. So to meet that need, I'm currently doing research and reading up on and doing some like sample sketches, like kind of like storyboard things out, how I might teach that sort of content. So yes, the short answer is yes. I'm considering doing some videos on design of experiments. When that will happen, I can't make any guarantees. However, I don't have it with me. I have books upstairs. So yes. When? Don't know. But I'm working on it. So, all right. Thank you for that question. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up here in a few minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, comments, or whatever else, make sure you do. So make sure you I can see your chat here. Make sure you put any of your questions or comments in there, and I will answer them the best I can before we wrap up this first live stream of 2022. Another thing I am considering, popped into my head, right now I do the live stream every 2 weeks. I was considering doing it every week. I don't know if there will be the demand for the live stream every 2 week. If there's a demand for a live stream every week, but I am considering that. If you saw the live stream a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, I experimented with some live. It's not exactly like Kahoot or Quizlet, but it's similar, like an online thing where you can do questions and stuff like that. It worked in theory. The problem was the delay. So when I say something into this microphone, you're not hearing it until like 15, 20, sometimes 30 seconds later, because it has to go through my computer and goes to YouTube or StreamYard and goes to YouTube, LinkedIn. So all that time, there's a big delay between when I say something and when you actually hear it. And using a site like a Kahoot or a Quizlet or Aha Slides, which is what I used, the delay causes problems. So I'm trying to figure out something to do with the live stream so it's just not me blabbing the whole time. But I'm not sure a good solution that is interactive it's online and interactive, but the delay, I got to figure out the delay somehow. So what do we got here? Yes. So cool. Thank you. Fair enough. Absolutely. Hi, Brandon. Can you cover linear programming someday in the future? I would love to do lots of videos on linear algebra and finite math, which I know is not linear programming. However, there is some linear programming within linear algebra and finite math. So I would like to do content on that, because when I was at Indiana University Bloomington, like my biggest side job was actually tutoring finite math. So finite mathematics. So I have binders, huge 3-inch binders full of content right over here on the side. And I have all the pieces to do it. So I'd love to do some videos on linear algebra and finite mathematics, which they're not exactly the same, but they're kind of viewed in the same light. A part of which is some linear programming, some simplex, linear programming. So I would like to do that definitely in the future. I would also say, when I was tutoring and teaching linear programming, it was a lot easier to do that in person, because we could actually sit there on graph paper, and graph the functions and actually shade in the feasible regions and do all that kind of stuff, like in person, like at a table. So I got to figure out a way to somehow mimic that. I know there are ways, but to try to recreate that learning physicality, the physical learning of writing stuff down. So, all right. So yes, I would love to do some content on that. I actually think I would not go back and watch them because they're awful. But I think I did some linear programming problems at the very, very beginning of my channel, and they are horrendous and look dated and everything like that. So I think there are some on there. We did some like shortest route problems. I think we did some product mix type problems. Definitely not my best content, because it was, like I said, the very beginning, but there is some stuff on there, but I'd like to do some more. All right. Rupesh, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. I hope the 2022 is off to a good start for you, my friend, and thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Allison, hello, Brandon. Happy New Year. Back to your previous thing about doing interactive educational content. Have I explored H5P? I have not, but I will write that down, and we'll look into it. So I'm going to write that down. Active content. See, you all have great ideas. Thank you, Allison. I will definitely look into that. And basically, if you see, these are all actually linear algebra books through here. And then just plain algebra, and then calc, of course. So I have everything I need to do this stuff. It's just time. I just don't have time. So, all right, Glenn, what's up, buddy? Sorry I'm late getting here. Got up watching Ziegfeld Follies. Love Ziegfeld Follies. So watched those myself in the past. But thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you taking the time. With linear algebra, is it better to start with the algebra or the geometric transformations? I would say the way I taught it, the answer to that would be the algebra. So the way the course was taught that I was tutoring for was pretty much, here are your equations, here are your objective functions, here are your constraints, find your feasible regions, and solve it that way. And actually it was very graphical. So actually on graph paper, okay, here's the axes, graph your equations, and plug those plug those vertices into your objective function, or your min or maxing, whatever. It's very visual, very hands-on algebra and graphical, the way I was sort of teaching it. And that's sort of the way I learned too. So this channel is the stream is picking up people as we go. So here we are. Perfect. All right. Syed, hope I'm saying that correct. Thank you for the linear regression playlist you have. Learn more from you and taking exam next week. Awesome. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you found the regression playlist very helpful. It is by far the most watched playlist on my channel. I haven't looked recently, but I'm pretty sure that linear regression video, the first one, like it's called, I think, Intro to Linear Regression. If it hasn't already, it's crossed 1.5 million views, which is insane. But yeah, the regression playlist seems very popular because I think what happens, you have a mix of individuals, you have a mix of students who are learning regression for their class, whatever college class is, whatever else it might be. Then you have other individuals who are coming to learn the statistics because they want to get into machine learning and data science, but don't have the statistical background. So I've noticed in the analytics, I have a bit of both. So that is by far that and the multiple regression and the ANOVA playlists are very highly viewed. They've been around for a while, but they still just keep churning out, views. So I'm happy that people find them helpful, like you. So. Yeah, so some simplex transportation and stuff. Thanks, absolutely. Yeah, there's like I said, there are some very awful videos I did at the first period of this channel that go over some of that stuff, but I would like to get back to some of it. I think some of it's like very practical, like it's like solving a problem in linear programming. So I actually like linear programming a lot. So logistic lecture is awesome. The concept of logistic regression is the building block of deep learning also. Happy New Year, Brandon. Lots and lots of love from India. Lots of love back, Anwesh. Absolutely, lots of love back. And I'm glad that the logistic regression videos are helpful. That's one of those, like the linear and logistic, obviously. For those that go into machine learning, so you have logistic as the classifier, the binary classifier, and you have the linear regression for a continuous target. So learning those two are like really the fundamental building blocks for going into like more advanced type things. And there's a lot of overlap there just with classical statistics. A lot of people start there. So I'm glad that glad you found them helpful, and I hope to do some more. Absolutely. So Benson asks, how long does it take to create content? Very good question. So what I can tell you is that the video that's coming out on Monday, it will be released in the AM, the morning, like 10, 11-ish Eastern U.S. time on Monday. That video probably took me 20 hours to do. The video itself is like 20 minutes, but the total time it took me to do the entire thing was at least 20 hours. So that includes doing all the research, storyboarding it out, and then building up the PowerPoint, putting all the content and graphics and everything in there that I wanted in there, doing all the animations for the PowerPoint. And then also this video has an Excel component. So I had to go into Excel, create the Excel spreadsheet, do the analysis multiple times to make sure it was correct. So it has that aspect to it. And then, of course, I have to go in and record the PowerPoint part and record the Excel part. Then I have to put them all together and edit the whole thing, which takes a lot of time. Then I have to work on the audio, put in any other, zooms and pans, captions, whatever else I got to do. Then I have to have it professionally captioned, which also costs money. And then I have to get the file, upload it to YouTube, do all the titles and descriptions and all that kind of stuff for the video. So the entire process, Benson, for the video that will be released on Monday was at least 20 hours. At least 20 hours. So sometimes it's more. It depends on the nature of the content. But usually, for my content, for every minute of video time on YouTube, it's about an hour. So if the video is 15 minutes long, that video probably took around 15 hours to make. If it was 10 minutes, about 10 hours total. So it's very time consuming. If you want to do it right, you can just throw crap up on YouTube, and some people will watch, but I want to do it right. I want to do a good job and make it quality content for you all. Good question. All right. CM Catholic. Hello, sir. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, I'll put this up here again. Super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. It definitely helps support the channel and the costs that go into making quality content for you. So if you have a couple dollars, even to buy me a cup of coffee, look, a cup of coffee can get me through 3-4 hours at Starbucks. So that makes it that helps. If it keeps me there working, a cup of coffee is all I really need. All right. So Glenn, thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you for that $5 super sticker. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate your generosity and your generosity with your time for coming to the live stream and stuff. So I appreciate it. Let's see. Since deep learning has popped up in chat, I would love to have a playlist from you on the same. I would love to do something more along those lines. It just, something like that would take even more time if you want to do it properly, neural nets, activation functions. I like that graphic of all the activation functions. It's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, I'd like to. Just a matter of time. I just purchased Jim Heffron's book on linear algebra. I think I noticed that on your shelf. It seems like a nice structure to follow for my learning. It might be. I'm looking on my shelf. I can't see it from here, Glenn. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody, for this little... Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I will definitely check that out. Jim Heffron. Writing notes to myself. Okay. So I'll check that out. I might have it on there. All right. Again. Oop. Nice. Thank you for that, Glenn. Very, very kind of you. All right. A few more minutes. Nicholas. Hi, Brandon. First of all, thanks for your videos. You are very welcome, Nicholas. I take the chance to ask you 2 quick questions. 1, could you do some videos on panel data regression? Panel data regression. I can look into that. Okay, I can look into that. Number 2, saw the thumbnail. Do I play Dota? No. What on the thumbnail? Dota. So I don't play Dota. Sorry, I get distracted. I am a recovering Warcraft player, but obviously they're having their own issues right now, and the game has kind of gone downhill. But I still will log in and play every once in a while. And then I played New World for a while, but that game is a disaster zone. It's a disaster of a game. It looks beautiful. I love the way it looks. It's absolutely a beautiful game. But there are so many bugs and issues with that game. Oh my goodness. And it lacks, I don't want to go on a tangent about games, but it lacks too many gaming comforts that we are used to. It lacks mounts. It lacks all kinds of stuff that it needs to have in a modern like MMO type game. And so I play Warcraft every now and then. And I played New World. But other than that, I don't play a whole lot of video games. 1, because of time, because they're obviously huge time sinks, and they've kind of lost their luster, at least for me at this time. So, all right. All right, Benson. Wow, yeah. Creating content is very time consuming. So it takes to do it at the level that I want to do it in terms of quality and clarity for you. Yeah, it's about an hour per 1 minute you see final product on YouTube, which is also why I don't release videos as often. One, because it's not my full-time job. Number two, to put the content into the quality for you that you deserve and that I want to provide to you just takes time. You know, the amount of thinking that I put, and other creators too, the amount of time that goes into just thinking, like walking through mentally how you, the end user, is going to ingest and consume that piece of content. The amount of thinking that goes into that is just, it hurts my brain sometimes to even when I do that. So it just takes time, a lot of time, to do high quality stuff. I'm pursuing a master's in data science. I am comfortable with Python, but my instructor teaches machine learning algos in R libraries. Should I learn R also? Please suggest. Well, if it's a requirement of your program, then you'll have to learn it. You know, you'll have to learn it. Now, I will say that with R and Python, and I guess to some extent other languages, once you learn one, learning the next one is a whole lot easier because there are similarities. Like the syntax is different, but there are some general patterns that are the same once you learn one going into the other, you know. And there might be, someone in this chat might know, there might be a way to work with one inside the other. Possibly. Because there's a lot of intermingling of languages now. You can do like you can go into Jupyter Notebook, which we think of as Python, but you can also obviously do R in Jupyter Notebook as well. I think Excel allows for some is it R or Python. You can maybe do even in Excel. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So there might be a way to learn one within the other, but if it's a requirement for your degree program, then I guess you'll have to learn at least basic R. But like I said, if you know Python, learning R is going to be easier because you'll see the same patterns in the syntax and the way, variables are constructed, and some of the loops and other type things you might do are similar. All right. Awesome to see a statistician, mathematician like you sitting in a gaming chair. Yeah, once COVID happened and I was going to be working at home all the time, I decided to invest in a good chair that's supportive. So this chair is not cushy at all. It's definitely firm, but it's definitely helped my legs and back when I'm sitting here a whole lot. So this is a Secret Lab chair. Very nice chair, not cheap, very nice chair, but supportive in the right places and adjustable in the right places. And it's when you sit in a chair like this now with COVID and everything, it's good to invest in the best chair you can afford. It's kind of like a mattress. You buy the best mattress you can buy because you spend a third of your life approximately in it. It's very important to get good sleep. So, if someone always told me, if you're going to splurge on a mattress. And it's the same thing, splurge on a good chair if you're sitting in it all the time. So, wow squared. Yes, wow squared. All right. Yeah, so from what I noticed from a job perspective, Python is more preferred over R, mainly because of its advanced libraries. However, R is more taught in academia. This is absolutely 100% spot on. This is exactly spot on. So R has a higher presence in academia. So I see that in my daily work, So we have some of our statistics and business analytics and other titles that we have at Cengage have R appendices and R material in them, but not Python, because R is most often used in academia, not only for students to learn, but also the researchers themselves often use R. However, in general, I agree here that Python is more popular, preferred over R in the generic sense. Now, I think academia will eventually catch up, but academia often moves like a tortoise, very slow to change, unfortunately. So, yeah, I tend to think that Python is the more preferred and the faster growing one in a general sense. General sense. So if I were to pick one to really learn right now, I'd probably learn Python. And that's kind of where I've put my focus. I still open RStudio to do things here and there, but in general, I think Python is the general direction things are going. All right. Because of simplicity of installing and starting from a beginner perspective, R is chosen in institutions, but Python is currently the numero uno for data science. Completely agree. And if you install Python with like the Anaconda distribution, then in theory, it's almost as simple as installing RStudio. Using the Anaconda distribution, you can install everything really at once, including Jupyter Notebook and everything, and keep everything updated. So there are ways to work with Python that's just almost as simple as RStudio is. But yes, Python is currently the numero uno for data science, and I see that only growing over time. So people ask me, even in my family, I have people in my family that teenagers that are getting into like coding, and they ask me what they should learn. I tell them Python. So, is R as generalist as Python? I don't think so. You can do much more than stats ML with Python. Correct. Not sure if it's also the case with R. So yes, Ernst, this is exactly what I said earlier. Python is a more flexible generalist type language that can do almost everything R can do, plus a whole lot more. And it's advanced sort of libraries. So there's nothing wrong with R at all. But Python is a much broader, more generalist coding language that can do much, much more in other domains as well. So Ernst's comment here is really the best summation. Is R as generalist as Python? No, Python is more generalist. You can do much more than stats ML with Python. True. Not sure if it's also the case with R. I don't think so. So that's that. Yeah. So maybe you can combine R with something else, such as Python. There are different ways to integrate these languages depending on the thing you're using and platform you're using. So it depends. All right. Oops. I did not mean to have that up there still, but yes, super chats and PayPal tips are welcome. So let me remove that. Okay, so we've been going an hour and a half. I did not plan on that lasting that long. So I'm going to wrap this up so you all can get on with the first day of 2022. Honestly, I think New Year's Eve and New Year's is my favorite holiday. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for renewal. It's a time for new beginnings. It's like a nice fresh start, and I just love the idea of that, not a completely blank slate, but just a time to take stock and think about how the next 12 months sort of want to go. It's completely artificial, a year is a year, regardless of when it starts or ends. But it's probably my favorite holiday, even honestly more than Christmas, that we celebrate here. So, yeah, I hope you had a great New Year's Eve and you have a good New Year's Day, and you start thinking about how your 2022 wants to go. So, yeah. So Glenn says reset, and go, and that is a great sort of phrase for 2022. But I don't want to take any more of your time this weekend. It's been a long couple of years for all of us, and we should all give ourselves a pat on the back for making it this far. It's been very, very tough. I'm sure, People I know have been affected by this, and I'm sure people you know have been affected by this. And we've managed to just keep going. But I do think that once Omicron, and here in the U.S., Omicron is just burning through. Like, I know so many people that have COVID right now because of Omicron. It's just super, super contagious. Super contagious. Even if you're, obviously I'm vaxxed and boosted, but doesn't mean you can't get it, and it might just be annoying for a day or two, and you won't have severe illness. So I hope this blows through pretty quickly. I think the peak in the U.S. will be in a week or two, like mid-January. That will be the really, really, really bad time because of all the holiday get-togethers and other stuff like that. And then hopefully at the end of January, February, it'll start to recede and die down again, and go from there. So it's actually, I read a lot of books on infectious disease in 2020. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the pattern of these sorts of pandemics is that they mutate to be less severe in terms of illness, but more endemic. So easier to be transmitted. So COVID will be something we all live with for the rest of our lives. It'll be like the flu. It'll just be around. It'll be endemic, floating around all the time. And just something we have to manage. So, yeah, hopefully we don't run out of Greek letters. And last thing I'll say about this is that I could do a whole live stream on COVID because I find it's all obviously sad, but I do find the science very interesting. Is that you want to keep your immune system strong for obvious reasons. So, exercise, diet, all those things that keep your immune system, good sleep, strong is good in general. But also, if your immune system is low, your body becomes an incubation chamber for more viruses. So you want your immune system strong to keep everything, down. That also helps keeps this from spreading and going out. So do what you got to do to keep yourself safe and healthy, and keep everyone around you safe and healthy. And hopefully the next few weeks will be rough, especially here in the U.S. and other places. But in a month or so, hopefully we'll be on the downslope. So, all right, this is not a live stream about COVID, even though I'd like to do one. So I'm going to wrap this up, everybody. Thank you for those of you all who offered super chats and super stickers for the channel. I do appreciate your support. Even a few dollars helps here and there. So I wish you all a great rest of your day, this first day of 2022, and I look forward to spending some amazing time with your wonderful souls over the course of this next year. So take care and bye-bye.